All right. So this is a fraction talk, and a fraction talk is an instructional routine. So, Mark, you want to go to the next slide? So I just want to say real quick, in case you're not familiar, this is a quick definition of an instructional routine. Instructional routines are specific and repeatable designs for learning that support both the teacher and students in the classroom, enabling all students to engage more fully in learning opportunities while building crucial mathematical thinking habits. So I just want you to, as you engage in this, stay connected to the idea of a routine, that this is specific and repeatable. It's something that happens over and over in the classroom with a particular structure. This is not a one-off activity. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you an image and I'm going to ask you a fraction question, and we're going to take some time just to think. So you can go ahead and put up the next slide. So the question is, what fraction of this shape is red? And you want to bring in our, so the question mark is showing us which of the pieces is red, just there. And not only which fraction is red, but how do you know, and how else do you know? How many different ways can you think of to figure that out or to explain it? And I'm going to get quiet for a few minutes now. I'm just going to encourage you that if you find that you are having unproductive struggle, if you feel stuck, if you feel like you can't get anywhere with this, then please send me or Mark a private message in the chat and we will support you. Thank you, Mark. I forgot. Let me put that in the chat. So we have set up a polypad if you want to have some tools to um, to use virtually, or you can use paper, pencil, whatever way you want to approach this. You don't have to use the polypad. That's their tool if you want to. So it's very hard to tell virtually if people need more think time. Uh, can you give me some indication of whether you feel ready to talk about this or whether you'd like more time to think? All right, I saw a couple thumbs up and I didn't see uh anybody looking like they needed more time. So I think let's come together and discuss this. So now yeah, I will take the screen share. Because I'm gonna use you may or may not have used the polypad to think about this, but we can use it to talk about it together. So the first thing I'd like to know is what did you get for an answer? What, what answer did you get? Okay, I see a couple people saying 1/4 in the chat. Uh, anybody get any other answers? 1/4 is one of our answers. 1/5. Okay. Anything else? Oh, 3/12. Okay. So we have also, sorry, I can't find my pen, so you have to deal with my very messy mouse handwriting. Um, so 3/12 equaling 1/4 is another answer. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so those are some of the answers we came up with, but what I still don't know now is how we came up with these answers. So what I'd like to do is have folks unmute if you're comfortable or put your thinking in the chat. Um, Mark put 3/4 of 1/3. You can all see that in the chat. I'm not going to try to write it with my mouse. So I would like to know how did you think about this? How did you arrive at your answer? And I will illustrate your reasoning on the polypad to the best of my ability.
I can go first.
Okay.
I happen to have manipulatives with me in this room. So I don't know if you can see, I have the shape that is the red piece that we were trying to find. And then I took three of the green triangles. Oops, I have to get closer. And put them on top of the red piece to show that they're equivalent.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so I was thinking about how many of these little triangles. I don't have the big green triangle or the pink ones, but I was thinking about how many of these little green triangles would fit in each of those pieces. So if three of them fit in the red piece, plus there's a fourth top one, that makes it equivalent to the big green triangle. And then I was assuming that the two pink ones together were equivalent to the big green triangle as well. So that made a total of 12 pieces. I don't know if you can follow all this. So what I have in my hand, which is the same size as the red, is three green triangles, three small green triangles um, out of 12. And then I simplified that to 1/4. That was one of the ways that was the first way I figured it out.
Okay. So so you sort of thought of these three,
Mm-hmm.
you first saw that the red trapezoid was the same as three green triangles, and then you saw that the big triangle was there three times, and each of those was like four small triangles.
That's right.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Sarah.
Great illustration, Aaron.
Thank you. Who else?
Uh, I'll say, sure. That was my second way, the way that Sarah you just described. So I appreciate that the prompt encourages us to think of as many ways as possible. The second way made me stretch enough that I didn't want to care. I didn't want to try a third one. So my first way was kind of basically what Mark said. I noticed that the shape of the trapezoid of the red shape was in 1/3 of the overall shape. So then I just had to figure out like 1/3 of what. So then I recognized and I remembered from the manipulatives that those little triangles, it takes four of them to make the whole shape. But then I did use the poly pad to check my work just to make sure that the green triangle did in fact fit three of them inside the red one. So then I had 3/4 of 1/3. And so I wrote out that times
Quarters.
table, I guess, if you will, that problem and solved it and got 1/4.
3/4 of 1/3. You have to use your imagination with my handwriting.
I see the vision. I see the vision.
Okay. Um, and okay, we have some ideas showing up in the chat as well. Amanda says, I broke the shape into the same or very similar sized triangles and found that three were colored red out of 12. Okay. So let me see if I can get that. So I think, Amanda, you were using, like these little triangles. Every time I go into the pan mode, I forget to come back out of it. Apologize if I'm giving anybody motion sickness. So, Amanda, are you saying that you managed to fill this entire shape with these same triangles? Like this?
Yeah, something like that. So I kind of used the line tool and found out that the entire shape was 12 little green triangles, and three of them would have been red.
Okay. So, like these two. Uh, and then the other one in between. Uh, oh, excellent. Okay, this great. Thank you, folks, for putting your visuals in the chat. So, let me see if I can copy and paste them into here. Um, okay. Oops. So that is this is Amber's strategy. Amber, do you want to explain what you've done here?
Yeah, so I was my very first thought was to take the parallelogram and figure out how many were in there, but it kind of seemed hard to do in my head just because you couldn't line them up all next to each other. So I went to the polypad and was like, there's got to be a way to fit how many parallelograms can I get in here? And once I figured out a way to put it in the bigger parallelogram shape, I realized that there were three triangles and was like, wait a second, three triangles makes up a parallelogram. So there's four total parallelograms in the full space. And the one that's made up of the small triangles is one out of the four total parallelograms. And so that's how I came up with 1/4. Um, I I will say that I had thought similarly to Amanda with let's cut it all into the same type of triangle and do three, and that's how I got 3/12. And then I saw other people posting 1/4, and I went, well, yeah, that's what 3/12 simplify to, but how do I show 1/4, not 3/12? Because what I was showing was 3/12, and I was initially, and so I was like, how do I show 1/4? How does that appear in the shape? And so this is the visual that I came up with. And I thank you for making me use Polypad again because it's been a little while and it refreshed my memory on how to do some things.
Awesome. Thank you, Amber. Yeah, it's been a while for me too. You can see me struggling a little bit with Polypad today. And this is Mark's. Um, do you want to explain, Mark? You said this was similar, but not as clean as Amber's.
Well, I sure. I mean, but mostly I will just echo the great minds that have already spoken. I came up with the idea. I saw it as 3/12 in the way that Amanda described a couple of minutes ago. But then similarly, I was like, I know I can reduce 3/12 to a quarter, but let me see if I can see an actual quarter. Um, so instead of like, yeah, it's cleaner because you can see the orange trapezoids that Amber did, whereas I tried to like color them in with that magenta fuchsia color. But like my visual is the exact same as hers, except it's harder to see. But again, it's just that it's the three kind of trapezoids as they are, and then you take the area of those three little triangles and put them together for the last trapezoid. So I just appreciated Amber's way of helping my thing, stand on its own. Like I feel like what I meant by cleaner is that Amber's you can look at it and make sense of it. Mine is is a little bit it's harder to do that.
Although you've used sort of the color and the orange numbers to help us see that those three small triangles make one of these larger shapes. And then we have also, let me find some space here. Um, you all made it so much easier by creating your own visuals. So this is Heidi's. Heidi, do you want to say anything about this? I see you put it in the chat as well.
Yeah, it's same as Amanda, same as Sarah's. I was also like Amber needing to get back in and test my polypad muscles. So, you know, Mark, what I liked about the way you just were shading yours was it made me think, oh yeah, that's the kind of the cool thing about having a virtual manipulative is you can you can cut apart in different sizes the pieces that you're looking for, even if they're not there, versus the tactile ones that are in front of you, like what Sarah was holding up. You can't chip off the end of that pink one and make smaller segments. So it's kind of neat to see the flexibility of these options and making, having agency and choice in front of students so they can pick and choose where they want to go. But I really appreciated seeing the 1/4. Amber, that was a really nice question. I echo what Cynthia said, that was helpful to hear that question of how do I visualize that 1/4? Because we can simplify immediately, but if you can't represent it, you're missing out. Somebody's missing out on understanding. So appreciate that.
I think we've heard from most folks. Dwight, do you want to share your thinking?
Sure. The reason I came up with 1/5, and I will guarantee you that if I pose this question to my students, they would do the same thing that I did. And that is a literal interpretation of the question. The question was, what fraction of this shape is red? There are 5 shapes. One of them is red, so it's 1/5.
Mhm.
Rather
Yeah.
than looking at the area or the volume of the shape, you just count the number of shapes. And I will guarantee you, some students will answer it that way, and that's how I answered it.
So there are 5 shapes. Oops, there are shapes. There are 5 shapes, and one is red. Anybody want to respond to that reasoning?
I think without the visual, you could make a case for that in some way. If you just kind of said there are 5 shapes and, one is red. If it was just written in text, there are 5 shapes and one is red. Give me a fraction that represents that. You could say it was 1/5. And I agree that in most cases, there would be a lot of students that would say something like 1/5, uh, because it is 5 pieces and one of them is red, not thinking about the size of the pieces and whether they're equal or not.
Correct. That was not part of the question.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what makes this a rich activity is it helps students think about what do fractions mean and how important is equal size of the pieces.
Yeah, I appreciate your sharing your interpretation, Dwight, and I think that you've made a really good clear mathematical argument. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
Mark, do you want to take it from here?
Sure. I'm going
Yeah,
to
you
take
can
the
take
share
the
from you.
share. Yeah.
Forgive my taking. Oops. Oh, wait, where did you all go? Am I sharing? Can you see the screen that we started with that sent us off on our excellent.
Yeah.
Aaron, do you want to stop the recording
Yes.
as we shift into the next part?